Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Michele Rahal, along with Rob D'Amico with Channel Shift, your sports world on demand. Two stories have really dominated the racing world in the last couple of weeks. One is a double-file restart in NASCAR. The other is the split between Tony Eury Jr., the crew chief, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., the driver. Rob and I have got opposing opinions on this subject. Rob, give it your best shot, pal. Fire away.
Well, you know my opinion on this. I think that Tony Eury Jr. is the scapegoat here. This is the fall guy. I think this is all on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s shoulders because this is a guy who's made mistakes over and over again on pit lane, and we continue to see it no matter who the crew chief is. So, my opinion, Dale Earnhardt Jr., all this rests on his shoulders.
So, your definition of scapegoat is what? I'll tell you what my definition of a scapegoat is. It comes from, by the way, it's a very old definition, one that came from the New Testament, which meant it was a goat that the Israelis sent out with its sins all attached to it into the desert so that they could be cleansed. That's the old version. The new version is somebody that they throw off the boat in order to save someone else. I want to know who that you can name or anywhere else in the media that I've seen where they've blamed Tony Eury Jr. I blame Dale. I agree with you there, but your definition of scapegoat is completely wrong. It's misguided. He's got to go. He's got to go somewhere. Do you think they're going to fire Jr.? I don't think so.
No, I don't think they're going to either. But I will say this. How about this? One who is made an object of blame. Who are they putting the blame on?
I haven't heard anybody put the blame on Tony Eury Jr.
Because who's going to say that? Hendrick going to come out and go,
That's
hey.
not the point. The point is that you're saying he's a scapegoat. I'm saying that nobody's blamed him. They're blaming the two of them for fighting for all these years, all of these years as brothers, practically brothers growing up together like two little children that you got to separate. And the only way you're going to stop it is to separate them. This is a business. This is not a game. Rick Hendrick didn't put all this money, time, and effort in order for this thing to fail. And what's happened? It's going to take some time, but this guy has got to get his head in the game. You're exactly right. I'm not arguing with that, but I don't think there's a scapegoat here. Both of them are talented. The two of them together are idiots.
No, I agree with you. They act like two little girls, there's no doubt. I'm going to continue on here because a person made a
victim. I knew you looked this up, by the way.
Oh, of course I did.
So I'm fine with that. Go for it.
Of course, you went old school on us, the Old Testament.
It's the truth.
How about them apples, buddy?
It's the truth.
But I got to tell you, I'll continue on. A easily made victim, and that's what he is.
Who's the victim? No one's accused him. No one's accused him. It hasn't happened. I haven't heard one word.
Does he have his job?
You know what? They haven't fired him officially. He's still under contract, isn't he? Has anyone come out in the media, any of us in the media, including the finest ones out there, the greatest journalistic minds, and said this guy's fired, he's out the door? Tony Eury Jr. has a place in NASCAR, probably with Hendrick, maybe not. Maybe he didn't fit the system.
Right. He won't be at Hendrick. I'm telling you, this guy's good enough to be a crew chief somewhere, and somebody's going to pick him up, no doubt in my mind, because he's that good. And the problem is...
I don't disagree with you.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. Once Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s head gets back in the game, he'll be fine.
That's the point. Somebody's got to put his head back in the game.
Rick Hendrick.
He has been the one that on the radio, we've all heard it over and over and over. You've heard it, ladies and gentlemen, screaming at his crew chief, Tony Eury, to do this, to do that. In other words, the driver's calling all of the shots and overriding everything the crew chief's got to say. That's not how it's done. Engineering plays an incredibly important role in auto racing these days, and they weren't following the rules. He was being dominated. Tony Eury Jr. was being dominated by Dale Jr. Dale Jr. needed a gunnery sergeant, and he's finally got one, and he's improving.
Well, I don't know if he's improving, but I will say this. He has got somebody who can tell him what to do.
Yes, sir, no, sir? At least he got some manners, for God's sake.
Well, he needs that. He needs somebody to point him in the right direction. That is not happening. Rick Hendrick was doing his best, let him bring over his cousin, and that didn't work out. It's time to move on, time to get this. Let me tell you something else. Lance McGrew will not be his last crew chief. I guarantee you that.
Probably not. I don't disagree with you there. Will you call him a scapegoat as well?
He will be once that time comes when he gets fired.
Everybody's
folks.
a scapegoat to
here.
you that gets fired. That's asinine. You can't possibly believe that.
He is the fall guy. He was
not
made
a
the fall
guy.
guy.
If you can't fire the guy running the car. You can't fire the wheelman
Because they don't have the guts to do so. That's the problem. These car owners
Put
don't have the
Danica
guts.
Patrick in the car. She's as marketable as he is. If
You're right.
if you're following your
right.
reasoning, it's all marketing. Then put Danica Patrick in the car.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michele Rahal is right. I agree with that.
I think that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If they stick her in the car, I don't care
Money.
if it's Chad Knaus running the show. She's not going to make the field. The only way she'll make the field and be able to keep up with anybody is under the owner point system, which I hate, by the way. There's no scapegoat here. A change had to be made, but that doesn't mean you're a scapegoat. That just means he had to be repurposed or whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm not so PC as to say repurposed. If he got fired, he got fired.
Well, we all know one thing. There is a goat on this set. If you agree, disagree, that's okay. We want to hear from you as well. For Michele Rahal, I'm Rob D'Amico. Thank you for watching.